I'll just start out before we get to questions, saying how excited I am about this season. I'm coming off of a really productive summer for the team here at Chase. So many of the guys have been around working with our players. Our staff's been fantastic. The players have really bonded and connected, and they've been working hard. And I think everybody's really excited for the season. So a lot to look forward to, and obviously getting started a week from now. So here we go.
Your contract is obviously going to be kind of an early season topic. What is your where is that at from your perspective, your contract, and would you be comfortable coaching the season on an expiring deal?
Yeah, I feel great about my position here, and I want to be here. I know Mike and Joe want me here, and so I'm very confident something will get done, but I'm not stressed about it at all. And, I'm perfectly capable of, coaching, whether I have 1 year left or an extension makes no difference. So, but I fully expect to be here.
Mike was talking about the connectivity that he's already seen this summer, especially with somebody like Chris Paul, brought up him leaving for a 6 a.m. flight to come to a workout. What's been your perspective of Chris this offseason as far as really trying to ingrain himself with everybody?
I really like Chris because he likes phone calls and not texts. So Chris is old school. He wants to talk, and we've had 4 or 5 great conversations this summer. One of the I remember a few years ago pulling him aside after Phoenix beat us in Phoenix, and I told him how much I admired him and his competitiveness and just his basketball intelligence. It's obviously we've had a lot of battles over the years. We did have one game together, the 2015 All-Star game, and I remember him taking over the game in the last 5 minutes, and our team won. And that's that guy would be fun to coach, and so I'm thrilled to coach him. He's one of the great competitors I've ever seen. His command of the game, the way he controls the action, his teams tend to get a great shot, possession after possession after possession. And he understands what wins. So I'm really excited to coach Chris, and I know he's really excited to be here.
The NBA just recently passed new rules regarding resting star players. How do you think that's going to impact managing the workloads of your star players this season?
Yeah, I don't think it'll impact anything. I think we have a great relationship with the league and a great respect for the rules that are in place, and we understand, we are trying to entertain basketball fans everywhere. That's the business. Putting on a good product, putting on a good show for our fans, and giving fans the opportunity to come out and see our guys play. And injuries are a part of the game, and there are going to be games where guys are going to miss. But we plan on complying with the league's rules and giving NBA fans everywhere as much opportunity to see our guys as possible.
Steve, Mike used the word connectivity, which is exactly the same word you used about the lack of it the last time you were sitting there. I'm just wondering how much of the emphasis this summer came from you guys saying, please get connectivity with each other, or how much of it was organic and coming from the players?
Well, I think it's a combination, and my job as a coach is to help them connect. And I think last time I talked to you, I think I probably said that I didn't think I did the job well last year. And I think a big part of my job this year is to get the team connected. But that's a season-long process. I think Mike Dunleavy and his staff did a great job this summer of putting together a roster that should connect well on and off the floor. I think sometimes losing gives you some clarity. I think I probably said that at the end of the year too, and I really believe that. A year ago we came in off a championship, and let our guard down a little bit, frankly. And it's human nature, but it's sort of the way things work. And so when you lose in the second round and you feel like you've had a disappointing year, it's a lot easier to come in and be focused. It's a lot easier for me to come in as a coach and be more demanding. And I think the players will expect that too.
Steve, you and Bob had this from the outside very enviable relationship between front office and coach. How is your connectivity with Mike Dunleavy so far this summer?
Yeah, I mean, Bob and I remain very close. We talk all the time. I think I could not ask for a better new partner than Mike, given that Mike and Bob are best friends. And, Bob is one of the best GMs in the business, as we know, and has been for a decade. And he was able to groom Mike over the last few years. So there couldn't be a better situation for me. Mike and I have gotten close. We've spent a lot of time together. We have a lot of shared values in terms of what we think wins, what kind of player, what kind of team. And so we're on the same page, and we really enjoy being around one another, and I anticipate this being a great relationship and partnership.
Steve, how are you feeling about the center rotation, entering training camp right now? And I know you don't necessarily place a huge emphasis on size. Could you kind of reiterate your feelings about that?
Well, first of all, I'm very comfortable. I think signing Dario was huge for our team. He is really the kind of player that fits us well, a little bit like Bielitsa a couple of years ago. He's a different player than Belly, but there's a similar style in terms of his ability to connect the game with shooting and passing and awareness, court awareness. Dario's bigger than Belly. He's a very physical player, but he's going to fit us well either as a five or, playing in a two big lineup as well. So I think his addition really made all of us feel very comfortable going into camp at that spot. And then I think the addition of Usman to the two-way spot was a really nice pickup as well. He's a young player who's got some of the qualities that Draymond and Loon have. He's not going to wow you with athleticism, but strength, awareness, length, ability to guard multiple positions. Usman is a good player, and I think we're excited to be able to add him to that rotation as well.
You obviously have your established starting lineup, and you have Chris coming in. Have you thought any more or made any decisions based on starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, we basically have 6 starters. I mean, the way I look at it, and only 5 can go each night. So I haven't decided yet what we're going to do. I want to see training camp. We're going to try different combinations and take a look. Obviously, all 6 guys are going to play a lot of minutes for us. But if this is going to work, then everybody has to embrace it, regardless of who's starting and who's not. It only works if the whole team buys in. And I know these guys well. I know 5 of them really well, and I'm getting to know Chris. And the one thing I know about all of them is they want to win more than anything. They're an incredibly competitive group, and I'm very confident that we'll figure it out, and the guys will buy in and find a way.
There's obviously various combinations you could go to, but how comfortable are you with, I guess you would consider kind of like the hyper small lineup? That it would be Chris, Steph, Clay, Andrew, and Draymond. Yeah,
we'll look at that for sure in camp and exhibition games and see what that looks like. It's hard to imagine that wouldn't click pretty well, given that you've got a lot of talent and versatility and scoring on the floor. I think that lineup, putting Loon on the floor at the 5, you could do as well. With four smaller guys and Loon at center. But as you know, we've started Loon and Draymond together for years. They're a great combination. Probably one of the few 4 or 5 combinations in the league that is unique like that in terms of more screening than shooting. Most people are throwing 4 shooters out there. We're still throwing 2 bigs out there, and it's worked well. But we've always had the change-up of going small. So we're going to look at all that.
Steve, can you comment on your experience this summer with USA Basketball and just being the head coach of a team that's not the Warriors for the first time? What is there anything you take away from that experience that you learned about yourself or that you're going to bring into this season that's going to make you any different?
Yeah, that's one of the best aspects of being part of USA Basketball is there's so much to learn, so much that's different with the game, with the FIBA game, with the experience itself. Coaching a team that's only together for 6 weeks, coaching with an entirely different staff. It was an amazing experience, and no regrets. Obviously, we were disappointed that we didn't win, but the guys were fantastic. Nobody ever complained about playing time. Everybody was all in. They committed to the goal. They worked like crazy. Staff was amazing. The support from Grant Hill, Sean Ford, Jim Tooley. It's really, USA Basketball is a special organization. So great honor to be the coach and very proud of the effort that the guys put in. And I absolutely learned a ton from Spo, from Mark Few, from Ty Lue. Those guys are incredible coaches. And it's one of the best parts of the experience is just collaborating and gathering each day to discuss the team, and you definitely get ideas from each other, and some of those I'll for sure bring back.
Hey Steve, last year you guys got off to a slow start and were struggling on the road. Just looking at the schedule, how much of an opportunity do you see the first few months you have, where you're a lot at home, a lot on the Pacific time zone? How much of an opportunity do you think that will be, and how much urgency do you have at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I think I never paid too close attention to the schedule because it is what it is. There's just you're going to play 41 at home, 41 on the road, and you just go take it a week at a time. I do think we need to have a good training camp. I think it's imperative that we get off to a better start this year, not just in terms of our record, but in terms of our preparation. I think it'll be, frankly, very helpful that we're not going overseas, that we'll be here. We'll have a really good extended time to practice and work and prepare. And ultimately, last year we weren't good enough defensively at the start of the season, and that's why we went 0-5 on that early road trip. So we've got to make sure we're defending at a high level, by the time the season starts, and so that we can win, at home and on the road.
Steve, defensively, theoretically, you should have Gary Payton II for a full season, the start of the season. Same thing with having Andrew Wiggins for a full season. What's that confidence-wise, the boost to have those guys for a full season again?
Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, we know what we're capable of defensively, given the guys who have done it already. 2 years ago, we were, I think, a top 5 defensive team, if I'm not mistaken, second to Boston, I believe. So getting Gary back, being able to start the season with him is a big boost. And knock on wood, hopefully we stay healthy. But I think the defensive end is where it has to start. I mean, on the road last year, I think we were, close to dead last, if not dead last, then right there. And on the road, it was a bizarre season in terms of the numbers. A lot of people talked about it being flukish, but I believe that when a team is not well connected, then the road is where that lack of connection will show. And I think that's what happened last year, and that's why I'm going to really keep talking about this connection and the fact that we've got to bond and come together right away to get off to that good start.
And then with Trace, can you just kind of talk about the importance of 4 years college, 124 games, I believe it was, to come into a system like that as a rookie? And what part of his game do you think that can maybe be expanded coming in the NBA as a double-double guy like he was at Indiana?
Yeah, Trace is an impressive young prospect. You don't see that kind of college experience very often anymore. but you immediately recognize the experience level and the advantage that gives him. What I like about Trace, he plays the way we like to play. He's a good passer, dribble handoff guy at the top of the key, good screener. Gives us a lob threat that we don't otherwise have, which is a really nice addition. And I think he's just he's the kind of guy who feels the game well. He's got good feel for passing, cutting, movement, and a lot of the stuff that we already run, he runs really well. So Trace is a really intriguing prospect, and it'll be fun to watch him play.
Steve, with Kuminga, you've last year spoke of him as almost exclusively as a 4 in your rotation where you play him. Do you still view it that way, given the way this roster is composed? And has there been maybe a little bit of a pull between the things you and the coaching staff want him to do to get on the floor and get minutes, and maybe the things that he wants to do just in growing his own game as a young player, the young dynamic player?
Well, I'm excited about JK. He's had a really good summer. I was getting reports routinely when I was overseas, and the coaches were all raving about him, saying, that he's really worked hard and understood, what's needed from him. I think it'll be very helpful for him to play with Chris Paul. Chris has a way of making the game easier for people, and I anticipate them spending some time on the court together, and Chris helping to unlock some of that potential. Otherwise, JK's he's in his 3rd year and getting better and working hard, and he's right on track to get where he needs to go. So I'm excited.
Do you view him more still as a 4 versus a 3, or does that even matter?
Well, I look at combinations, and I think, one thing that happened last year, we didn't have a shooting big last year. So the year before, we had Otto Porter and Belly. You could definitely play JK with a shooting big, but it's tougher to play him last year with Draymond and Loon. You just don't get the spacing that you would optimally like to have. So I think we have more possibilities this year with Dario because of Dario's ability to pass and space the floor as a big. I think that can open things up for everybody.
Steve, probably not on the top of your mind, but first night of the season, Kevin Durant comes back here. It'll be the first time he gets to play in front of fans. What kind of reception do you think he'll get?
Oh, I think the fans will give Kevin the reception he deserves. Someone who was Finals MVP and played a huge role in hanging 2 banners in this building. It's been so strange that here we are 4 years later, and he still hasn't had the chance to play in front of our fans. We've obviously gone against him several times, but the gyms have been either empty or cheering for his side. So it'll be great to get him back at Chase and in front of our home fans, and he deserves that ovation that our fans will give him that night.